Here's an early example of a Danish telephone from the 1940s. This is called an M36 made by Telefon and Automatic. And this one is particularly from 1944. I think the last year of its production because of World War II. This telephone was not used on the actual Copenhagen telephone company, but it was probably more of a smaller independent telephone company. Hence the Telefonen dial center. Now, if it were used on the Copenhagen telephone company, it would have had the KTAS on the center. I understand that this model wasn't very popular because it broke easily. And I know the D08s were more common. And this one is a fully bakelite telephone. I think it's a very robust looking phone. It's a very unique design, as you can see. Not a very traditional design either. I think it's kind of cool. But we'll take a look around here. So this dial, for example, is a BPO type dial, although very different than the ones used on the D08s. Though some D08s did have these. I forget the other model, it's a skinnier looking model. This one's different because if you look it on the side, it's thicker. And the bezel here is actually spring loaded so that when you turn the dial, it goes with it. Now, I think this dial has a broken spring because it doesn't return. And it's not because the dial needs oiling, although it does need oiling. It's loose, feels loose here, but once I get to past this point, I feel some resistance, but it doesn't return. So, yeah, the lot for the telephone collector is not always a good one. We hit or miss sometimes. And there's also another thing I'll tell you about in a second. But here's a look at the handset. Now, I was aware that the earpiece cap is broken and they glued it back together. I was aware of that. It's not a big deal. At least it's still in one piece. Not to worry. Be careful when I'm cleaning it. We got a spit cup design handset, and we got a nice cloth cord here. So this little thing, you stick your finger and you can pick up the phone. Really not, it's not really good to use it to hold the phone while you're talking on the phone, but it's good to like pull it towards you when you need the phone, from what I understand. So this is not a very good carrying telephone. It's missing its hex screw. It's supposed to have two, but it's missing one. So yeah, whoever was working on this phone lost it, unfortunately. But this screw, these two screws will take off this and that will release the cover. Got a space here for your phone number. This would be another thing for this probably would have been used for an earthing button. I've seen ones with earthing buttons, but I think they would have been up here, if I remember correctly. And here's the back. We also got a brake. It's on this side. Right here, crack. It's not fully broken off, so kind of learning as I go. There's not a lot of information from this telephone. So what I'll do is I'll take the cover off. So I'll show you the other thing. So we'll look at it inside generally. So here's a look. Very different from the traditional, turn it. Very different from the traditional telephones. It's got a double gong ringer, but there's a clapper for each one. So there's one here and there's one here. So the first thing I saw that is missing its capacitor. So yeah, so that's going to be a problem. Got to figure out what we can use instead. And I think the schematic would have been glued on the original capacitor, so I don't know why they took it out, but I think they're using it for something else. But it's unfortunate, whoops, it's unfortunate that they did that. And here's the where all the wiring goes. It's kind of at a crescent shape. There's also a little, you see those little labels there at the MT, and this thing fell out, so I'm gonna put that back in there so I don't forget. I'm gonna glue that back in. The letter M fell out. That's all the wiring, and you could tell the little restraint or whatever broke off in the used wire. Yeah, it's unfortunate that people mess with these telephones. Just if it ain't broke, don't fix it if you don't know what you're doing. Here's a look at the dial. Definitely BPO dial. It's a slipping cam, and the spring will be mounted just under these mechanisms here. Those cams. There's like a couple of those that help it spin. So yeah. Don't know. As I said, it's 1944, and yeah. So I don't have a lot to say about this phone because I'm still learning, but it's a very unique design, and I can't wait to get working on this phone. Now, I'm trying to figure out if this was nickel plated, or it just rusted, or it was painted black and it just wore off. We'll figure that out. It might have been painted, but I'll see what I can do about restoring this, or if I should just leave it alone because it's natural patina. But anyway, that is an early example of a Danish telephone. I will have more videos to come, and of course I will have the final check of this telephone once I get it going. If I do, we'll see. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.